Hey, hey guys, welcome to the Table Talk Radio Show. I am your host, Tanisha Simpkins.
What's up? What's up?
Y'all join in.
Hello, hello.
And we have Pastor Nathan Austin, and we also have Dr. Terisha Lee that's with us. And we also have our guest, which is Dr. David Dozier, but we'll be speaking with him a little bit later on. We just wanted to go ahead and get some things out of the way. Guys, so today is Monday. That would be April the 6th. Seem like these days, as I said last week, are going in slow motion. I think the president declared that we had 30 more days. I know a lot of people was like, oh my goodness, are these people going to go back? Or, what's going to happen? We already know that the schools are already closed. That's a whole nother statement by itself, having kids home all day, I mean, like literally all day.
All day.
But yeah, all day. You thinking of stuff to do? Go clean the garbage can. Go go clean it. Go clean the closet out when they're a little bigger. Go find something. Why I gotta find something to do? Find something to do. Do something.
Mhm.
It's just like Jesus. All both of us can't
PE.
just be sitting here looking like this.
PE. Exactly.
PE. Well, I said
Yeah.
that too. I said the PE is go outside and do some things, ride the bicycle. Then I was like, well, I need to get a bicycle because I want to do it as well. But yeah, it's been I think for the most part every week is almost like a trying week here in this beautiful state of the United States of America. I say, God bless America. Um, it's so much that's going on until, last week I turned my TV off for 2 days. And
Yeah,
Terisha, you was telling me earlier, you just turned the TV off.
I had
It's like,
to.
I don't want to hear that.
Uh-huh. It
Yeah.
gets overwhelming. I was like,
Yeah.
listen, I know you want us to be physically safe, so we're isolated, but mentally, I have to turn this off. I gotta cut it off, or I'm not gonna be mentally healthy because I'm nervous. Every little, I'm like, is that the Rona? Calm down, calm down.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Right. I just
That's,
coughed on a little drink, and I'm
but
thinking,
that's
wait, that just
true.
coughed.
yeah, we have like a rule in my house. You cough once, wash your hands, cough twice. Get out. That's kind of like the rule in the
Really?
house.
What? Get out.
Yeah, let's get out. That's it.
Wow.
I think if you cough twice, you have to take a bath, and then 3, definitely get out. 4 times, don't come back. So I
Oh
just
Lord.
Oh wow. Wow, that's
so
crazy.
pray for us.
But yeah, even like you were just saying, you get so paranoid, even when I cough, I'm like I was feeling a little scraggy at the throat. I was like, "Ooh, where my vinegar at? Where my vinegar? Let me take something,
Oh, don't
or
sneeze.
even my nephew today, he had, huh?
I say don't
Yeah,
sneeze.
or the
Oh,
sneeze
they call
pack.
911.
Uh-huh. It's big.
Yeah, so it's been a lot, but I know that we'll get through it. You know, what's so disturbing right now is all of the things that are going out when it comes to statistic wise, and that statistic wise with with statistic with the growing number of African Americans that have contracted and that actually have died of COVID-19. I just seen it on the news. I didn't want to present it because I saw a lot of people posting it on Facebook, with the memes or whatever. But I said I didn't want to say anything because I wanted to actually hear it. But the alarming number of those in Chicago area, um, Michigan, and what was the other one, Terisha?
New Orleans.
And New Orleans. It's crazy. I mean, I'm saying to myself, I hope they're not going to spin this thing, you know. Y'all know what I'm saying,
Right.
about the spin this as now it's just a black epidemic of type of virus disease as back in the day, when AIDS came on the scene and stuff like that. I'm just hoping that's not the actual case of it. What do you guys think about it?
I think it's very controversial. You look at what I think the was it the Italian prime minister said the other day that
Right.
he's talking about testing it out in Africa, and I believe Africa has the least amount of COVID-19 cases. So I think that there's some apprehension there, and legitimately so, because given history and how black and brown people has been treated in the past. So we're definitely looking into that.
Yeah, definitely. I think this reminds people of.
Yeah, but
Uh,
you know what? Go ahead.
no. Go ahead.
Now, just to let you guys know, Facebook is experiencing a slowness. If you guys noticed that today
A little
in the
delay.
lives and everything, because the system is so bombarded with a bunch of lives on Facebook and Instagram. A lot of people are moving a little bit slow in it today. But go ahead, Terisha.
Yeah, I think it's just bringing up the Tuskegee Airmen and the conspiracy theorist, which is valid,
Mm,
but it also can sometimes take us a little too far and push us into everything is a conspiracy, everything is an attack. Definitely we should be vigilant, definitely we should inform ourselves, but we I think we have to be mindful of the people that it is affecting, because it can just be downright disrespectful to say this isn't real, or this is it's
yeah,
not affecting that
absolutely.
many
So when
people
people,
when you see people actually dying.
Yeah,
Yeah, when you
I
see
can
people,
agree.
their loved ones are dying, it just becomes disrespectful to say, oh, the flu is deadly, or oh, it's not that bad, because those people are genuinely hurting and mourning in a way that they didn't think they'd have to 6 months ago. So now there's the funerals are cut off, the repast. It's affecting their lives
you
completely.
guys back?
Yeah, we're
It's
back. We're
affecting.
gone. I think that's interesting because that's just another
Oh, it was just me that left?
problem. It was just you.
It's just
It
you.
was. It's just compounds
Oh,
the
okay.
problem. There are several people who have passed away from this, and they haven't even been able to properly bury their loved ones.
Right.
Whether
I
it's from this or not,
know.
but people who have passed away during this time, they haven't been able to properly bury. So this has affected people, whether people have passed away from it or during the time of the pandemic. It's really just affecting a lot of different people, and
It is.
as the days go by, the layers of the effectiveness just continue to grow.
that is a great point. There was a lady that passed away in our church at Lively Stone Church in Miami, and we could not celebrate her the way we want to, and because of COVID-19, there must be some distance in terms of the people that's in there. It's something that's multifaceted in terms of the racial component, especially when originally there was rumors going out that said, well, black people couldn't contact
Yeah.
actually get the COVID-19, and I think Idris Elba came out, and a couple of some basketball stars came out, and that definitely shed light and broke some of those conspiracy theories that were just erroneous.
Yeah, I think to say
Well, the
this thing
biggest
has no respect of
conspiracy,
persons. I think it's safe to say that.
right, right. One of the biggest conspiracy is the G5. Have you guys? I know everybody. I
Oh
know folks
yes.
done post that in my inbox like 100 times. I'm about to block these folks, but every video that comes out, they send you into your messenger as if 30 other people didn't send it to you. But the G5 conspiracy theory, and someone wanted to talk and debate me about it, and I wasn't going to debate. And the reason is, I said, because I'm a person, I got to know all the facts. I can't, because everything is a theory. You understand what I'm saying? Everything that we're thinking about, or supposed to thinking about, is just a theory to it all. So it's like I can't get definite into it. And just like you said, Terisha, people will remind you, oh, what about the Tuskegee Airmen? What about Spanish flu? What about this and what about that? Um, Me personally, I don't think those things to be true. I think they are what they are right now, and we just need to use the best precautions that we can for ourselves. But what amazes me is this, and y'all can add to it, that people will put their gloves and their mask on and feel like that protects them side by side, folks.
Yes.
Y'all see that now? People gathering together now. I want to get my hair done too. I'm gonna go get my nails done. I said I'm gonna keep this on to the show. After that, I'm about to just pop them off, and they got some nice ones in Walgreens or whoever, and pop them
Yeah,
on.
they do.
But we want to do all those things too. But unfortunately, we have to have some type of level of distance, and folks are getting another notion that if I have my gloves on, which gloves really don't matter, but if I have my mouthpiece on, my mask, I can stand there next to you. I can invite people over to my house, or we can, just all be in this room together.
Especially how they misuse the gloves. You get people that have the gloves on and that are eating food with gloves on, and that are, I mean, it defeats the purpose. It's counterproductive,
Yeah,
to have gloves on and then be touching everything and then go touch something, go touch your face. I mean, it's almost, you get scientists now saying, you know what, it's don't even do the gloves.
yeah,
Just wash your hands.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you have to think of the gloves like in the hospital. Think about how many times a nurse changes their gloves. Just when seeing you, every little thing they do, they take the glove off. Of course, we don't want to do that because we don't have the unlimited supply that the hospital have, but they don't have the unlimited supply anymore either.
No,
But
they don't.
the thing about the gloves
Right.
is you have to use them the way they're supposed to be used, which is just why we should limit the amount of times we go out. Because if you're gonna have to go through the process of needing to use gloves, you're not gonna be able to just use one pair and go around and touch everything. You're gonna have to take them off, put on another pair, and continue to go. So this thing
Put
again,
them in the garbage.
it just has layers of things that we have to be concerned about.
but that comes from lack of
Yeah.
proper training and warning. They came out with a lot of information very early, and people held on to that, and some people never heard the update. So that
That's
first initial warning was it's affecting our vulnerable populations, our older people, people with prior health issues. So that made all the under 50 healthy people who work out say, oh, I'm fine. I can go out. I don't need gloves. I don't need a mask. And then you also have
Mhm.
people who think gloves are to protect their hands, as opposed to gloves protecting their hands and cross contamination. So they think as long as their hands don't touch anything, it's okay for them to touch everything.
That's
And
right.
that's the problem. So, and no one's teaching that. This isn't a class. Most of the people who are doing this aren't medical professionals. They haven't had any type of formal training in how to protect themselves. We're really dealing with this. Nobody predicted this would come. So nobody prepared anybody. So they're just doing the best they can. And unfortunately, they're doing it kind of dangerously and recklessly.
But don't you think it should be a
But
show in reference to that versus just every hour on hour telling us how many people are affected, how many people have died?
Oh,
They need to
absolutely.
be wise of the major news networks if they really wanted to kind of be informative in this season to kind of just do a show in reference to how do we go about, examples of what we're talking about now cross contamination and how often should you be changing our gloves, when to take off a mask. Those are the things I think will be helpful versus just, data on, the numbers increasing. That's what I believe.
I think that's a great point, Pastor, because you do get most of the media time spent on how many deaths, uh, and some of the political issues. I mean, I've seen, I think Sanjay Gupta from CNN, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, talk a little bit about certain things, but that's the part that has the smallest segment. As you mentioned, the part that has the majority of the segment are things that are not educating the populace on what to do. And that's why I congratulate all of you because you're doing an amazing job tonight by just taking some time to inform people and they're listening.
And I think it's going to be
mm,
counterproductive. We all know that it's clickbait, it's ratings. But I think three of us on this chat today have said we've turned the news off because we're tired of hearing it. So I think the way they're presenting this information is really going to start to be counterproductive. I think ratings go extremely down because people are just tired of hearing the same thing. We know every day is going to be 10 more thousand people added to the list. We know that already. How the people want to figure out what do we need to do to get out the house. And I think if they started doing things of that nature, I believe that we'll be more calmer and feel a little more safer.
Well, that's a whole nother lesson. And I wish I could have had someone. I did reach out to someone who's in the health field to actually talk about, the COVID-19, the conspiracy, all of those type. Y'all see me yelling? Y'all see me yelling? Terisha, you got little kids. I'm yelling at the big kid.
Uh-oh.
Let me get it together.
We've all discovered that our houses are not production, ready.
No.
All right.
Yeah, you're not production ready.
And all y'all got small kids.
Right.
Before I got on, I said, I hope I'm trying to run a different room.
Right. And
lock the door.
Yeah.
Everybody want to work from home. We see how that's not gonna happen.
Exactly. And then the schooling thing from home too. Oh my goodness.
Right.
And then the schooling from home as well. That's Oh yeah. We talked about that. That's the G5 scenario or conspiracy as to what people are saying. I can't say that, but they've always told us about radiation. Radiation has always been bad for us. We've always known it. Even it's a danger effect for those who take chemo and radiation. We know that, or even when those who work in different factories, those chemicals and things of that nature, that's already been known to be effective, towards our body. That's why certain states and places that have all those factories, they have a more large degree of people, getting sick from certain types of cancers than most places. Don't fact check me, but
help me out. So they're trying to link COVID-19 and G5 together, or they just that's the part I'm missing out on the conspiracy.
They saying that it's just G5 period. They say it's not COVID-19. That's what they're saying, that the COVID-19 is really G5, where it has to do with the radiation, the G5 network. That how you had the three, and the four, right. So now we have the 5, which is much stronger. And remember, Nathan, we were talking about how they're pushing us more into electronics. So they're saying that the G5 is a large degree of where we should be flying, all that stuff there. So they're saying that is so strong that, and y'all don't quote me, don't think that I'm saying that this is what it is because I'm talking about it, but it's so strong that you could just be walking and then you like pop, or people who are getting it in their system somehow are just dying so quickly and so forth. It's a lie. It's a whole conspiracy theory to it, but it's also a conspiracy theory. Hold up, it's also a conspiracy theory if they listen closely, to obtain in the purchase of foreign currency.
Huh?
After each theory that's been spoken of, like the buy console to purchase foreign currency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
they want to go deep, but go ahead.
I'm sorry because of the delay. I'm sorry. Yeah. If people just think about it, radiation and some of the carcinogenic element that helps us get cancer or brings it works a lot slower. I mean, just think about it. The Cancer Society, American Cancer Society, recently said that red meat is carcinogenic. But these are things that people do. Smoking is carcinogenic, and they get it, but they get it over years. So for someone to try to say that radiation, I mean, someone would get COVID-19. There was an officer who worked for I think Broward Sheriff's Office. He was diagnosed March 23rd, and he died already. I mean, So I mean, some of the stuff is not consistent with cancer. It's more consistent with the virus and the way that virus works. Just like when you catch a cold or catch a flu, I meant to say rather a flu. The way that it works is just really different than the slow moving process of cancer and the things that causes cancer.
Agreed. I agree.
Agree with that. I'll move on with that. So now here's the other thing here that I wanted to talk about. And a lot of stuff that we're talking about right now here on the Table Talk Radio Show. If you guys have something to say or a question, just make sure you put it in the comments, give us some hearts, let us know that you're out there. You're looking, you're viewing us. Myself, Tanisha, Dr. David Dozier, who's also a pastor, Nathan. We have Pastor A,
Oh, I didn't
Nathan
know that.
Austin, and you also have, I didn't say it, but Dr. Terisha Lee as well. So yeah, but she's going by
I'm gonna
Terisha.
turn my camera off on these doctors. I don't want them to see. I'm gonna turn mine
I ain't
off.
no doctor either.
I want to turn mine off.
Listen, somebody give me an honorary.
They call me Doc. They just say Doc.
Yeah. Yeah, all the pastors say that.
Right.
So I want to talk about now the effects of hunger. And I say that because on yesterday, because they put it on Facebook, everybody check their EBT card. You got your double. So everybody check their card. So and that's exactly what happened. So they got their double. Now this the beginning of April. They got a whole 30 days, of uncertainty now, because remember now we got to feed breakfast and lunch to the kids, and they remind you,
And
and they
several
dinner. So,
snacks.
yeah.
Several snacks.
I had it the day my niece was here. Yeah. So I'm like, what you want now? Heck of me. You better get up and do your work.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So the hunger thing, we already have lines right now for all of the different stops. Even we had our first one here in the city of Sunrise, where I live at. The line was extremely long by the time I remember. Thank you to our Commissioner Mark Douglas, who sent me a reminder, but kind of late. For those to go over and try to get what they need, and then they don't have enough people to volunteer to package some of these things and unpack the fruits and so forth. It's almost like we're moving back to the 70s. Some of you may be younger, I don't know, but back in the 70s they used to roll around in your community, and give you your government cheese and eggs and milk, all of that type of stuff. Hoping that far. Hunger issue. Not everyone was already. Some people are already paycheck to paycheck before this can start. One of the persons in the house may have lost their job, and the other one may be. So things are not. I'm just saying, okay, you can use my cable. I see on the cable I have Xfinity. It said bright and clear. You can suspend your cable and we'll be okay with it. I mean, if you ain't got no money, call us to suspend it until you get some money. Even with insurance, I seen it on insurance, regular insurance. I think it was auto insurance. We're offering month to month, type of thing. So they're not saying. So I don't want America to think that because of what we're going through, that people are just gonna stop and say, okay, y'all can keep riding. That's not gonna happen. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I mean, as far as the hunger, I mean, that's not just normal. I'm definitely getting a Corona belly, and I don't drink beer. But I will say that I did have I had the pleasure of serving our community today in Pompano Beach, and we gave out things that for someone like me and many others you would take for granted. It was asparagus, it was some cantaloupes, apples, and
Good.
green beans
Awesome.
and chicken, but a little bit of chicken, because for somebody who's watching this and they didn't get chicken, in their basket. We did run out of chicken quickly. We had enough of everything else but chicken.
Was you in charge of the chicken?
I was not in charge of the chicken. They didn't bring us enough chicken, but it had to be at least 800 cars that we served today.
See, that's what I'm saying.
For people
that's done.
in need. They're in need.
And I think
but check this out. Not only was Pompano serving today, the city of Sunrise, I think over there in Little Haiti today, so another place was serving. So you got all these thousands of, come at the end of the day, thousands of people. They have to think of some other type of strategy in doing this because and isn't it that they're only doing it one per car? What if it's me and my neighbor and she don't have a car, but she need and I need? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, I've seen several organizations. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, y'all. I've seen several organizations around my community, the churches, the clubs, and the community organizations really pulling together. And I'm not going to step on toes, I hope, but I don't think everything is spiritual, but I think everything has a spiritual lesson potentially. And I think one of them is actually helping each other. My neighbor knocked on my door, who I just say hi to. We've never actually had a conversation, with potatoes, onions, and eggs. And she was like, I know you got them babies over there. And I don't know if you've been to the store. Now, we had been to the store, so we weren't necessarily in need. But when they ate them, I said, oh, we did need this because it was gone. But I think this is kind of creating opportunities for us to get back to community. But it's also showing that we can actually be the hands and feet of the person we say we worship and we love, and giving us new opportunities,
Yeah.
But y'all fix it for me, preacher, because I ain't a pastor, so y'all clean it up for me in case I messed it up.
I'm about to go to get the violin ready, get the organ ready. You get ready. You get ready.
No.
I think the love thy neighbor, the whole epic principle of Christ, which of course love to do ministry outside, love to do ministry with strangers and neighbors. This situation has forced anybody who has a heart to not only look out for themselves, but look out for someone else. That was a challenge today. While we were trying to serve those that we saw, some were suggesting that they were trying to get bags for their neighbor, their other family members. Of course, it's hard to monitor that because we're trying to serve as many people as we can possibly see. But there is a challenge. There are some people. Now we know some are just using that as a line to get more for themselves. But that spirit is resonating because there are people who can't get out the house, the elderly, those who don't have a car, and people are trying to look out for each other as much as possible. But we come to this realization that at least for the smaller organizations, the churches and things of that nature, there's not enough resources to go around. That is the challenge that many nonprofits are facing. We've always faced it, but we're definitely facing it right now because this is the first time in most of our lifetime that everyone has the same need at the same time.
Right, at the same time. You got that right.
Regionally, they happen to a region, to a state, or to a county. We've never had this global pandemic where everyone needs the same thing. And so how do we balance that and try to maintain some level of integrity? And how do we maintain some level of financial backing for it? Because, this is not something that is done for free. There's somebody's funding the cost for this. And so just to go off topic for just a moment, speaking of nonprofit, did you guys see the backlash that New Birth in Atlanta received for the testing? They were offering testing, but they offered it with a fee attached.
I did.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. I was actually on his live when he was trying to clear it up. I was trying to help the brother out because if you go to he was doing the testings, and they do cost. If you go somewhere or go to one of the places, they cost if you're not 65 and older, or if you don't appear to be sick or have any symptoms showing.
Yeah,
there is, I think when I seen it down here, I think it was 150 or something like that. So they
Right.
gave him some I guess some free testing, but to do an assessment, it is $25 in which they charge anyway. But if you don't know that, then you think everybody is running game, or you think that the church is trying to make money. They ain't trying. They ain't got to make no money from y'all. They got money, you know. So everybody then becomes a advocate of go powered, against the black churches. You know, Let
Yeah.
me hush. But go ahead.
Yeah. We
No,
gotta
I,
be.
I saw that. It was $25 assessment. I think $150 for the test. But as you know, someone did an interview those monies went to the facilitation of the testing. That they had to still pay the doctors. Everyone volunteered the services, but the doctors
Right.
that do the test still had to get paid, and to ascertain the test themselves, it was money. And so the church does not have the government backing to where government has sites. But of course, in most towns, the lines are long and they're running out of tests. And people don't think that the church should have charged. But my question is, where was the money going to come from? Is it the church's responsibility to front the money, the facility, the staff, and everything else? I mean, that is the balance that the church is facing right now. I don't
I
know,
think
Pastor, maybe you can speak on it.
Yeah.
I think that's such a
Go ahead, Pastor David.
a point, because then what does New Birth do? They hire a PR firm. You know what I'm saying? Because they were trying to do something good, and yet the PR for it is coming bad. So then if they hire a PR firm, that's going to add to the cost of operations. And look where the church money going now, right?
Hey, don't be knocking me. Don't knock me now. Don't knock me.
So
Right. PR firm wants some money too. They want money to clear it up.
so these are all
I
things
try
that
to
are,
help
yeah, these are all relevant situations. And I've played. I could understand both sides. I've pastored for over 16 years. Now I'm overseeing the ministry. We do have a local pastor there, and I'm more or less overseeing that ministry and another. But I see how when you're at the top of the mountain, everyone is throwing rocks and just want to see you fall, even when you're trying to do a good deed.
Yeah, because the biggest question would be to some people, well, where is the church? Somebody asked a question, and I have to stay out of these Facebook wars, y'all. And I never used to be in a Facebook war, Nathan. I ain't never used to be. But I'm like, I got time. All of a sudden my thing is like, you got time. So I'm like, they be putting stuff up there. Well, where's the church? I went right up under him. What are you talking about? We're here. You don't go to church. I don't know nobody in church. So you don't know if no church is doing anything, but you want to run your mouth and say and criticize, church. You know understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of them are out here doing things. They don't have to be broadcast, hey, Lily Dolly, I'm doing this. They just do it. That's what a church does. That's what an outreach does, And I can say that I know that David, you guys, and Pastor A, I know both of you guys do outreach ministry. That's what you do. You don't look for, hey, I'm this church and we're doing this and we're doing that. It's just done because there's a need. And I love what Pastor A said that right now. And I'm gonna remember that. That is something to remember for those who are out there who are listening to the Table Talk Radio. We all got the same time. That is amazing.
Oh yeah.
That really is.
It's interesting because the church is always caught in the middle. When the church does something and it videotapes it, takes pictures of it, they're saying that why should church take pictures of it? That's what would Jesus do? But then when the church doesn't take pictures of it, it's as if it never happened. And
Yeah.
so with that as well. Another part of this is, again, going back to the type of situation this is. The church is not made of robots. The church is made up of human beings. When I left my house today, there was a concern from my wife of protection. I'm going to serve, but she is looking at me not as the pastor, but as her husband. I'm going out into a community, the same community that the governor and the president says don't go out, but I'm going out trying to be the hands and feet of Jesus at the risk of my personal health and safety. I can do that as a pastor, but in this season, what makes it challenging, this is not a hurricane where people's lights are off. This is, hey, you can go outside and catch something that will kill you. And you are asking people, Christians, but people to serve in this season. This is again where the church, there is no right or wrong way, because it's very difficult to ask volunteers to go out and serve, but while they're serving, they're putting themselves at risk.
Because trust me, I thought about it. Because I even came close, because I'm part of United Way when they sent out the information and all the other community things, and then it was asking, did you want to come, to feed South Florida, go over to the trucks or whatever. I thought about it. I should go because that's just me. Even during the hurricane, I was even sick at the time. I'm still serving. That's just me. But in my mind, I'm like, girl, you got to raise your child.
The babies need you.
Somebody need me.
There are people who
You
getting
sort of
paid.
having those type of thoughts.
There are people whose job it is to serve that don't want to serve in this season. And
right,
so,
girl, yeah, the young lady who was just on the news, they were talking about in Detroit. They was talking about you better not go out, get out there. They was talking about, and she was talking about in Detroit, and I was like, I need to call one of my co-hosts for my relationship show, Mel. She's a bus driver, for Miami-Dade. Now they're saying that it's coming proximity to those people. I'm like, I need to call her because I want her to be safe. Can you take some time off or something? Because when I love my people, but the young lady on TV said, I want to go back to work. She said it simply, I'm not going back. Actually, that's what she said. She didn't say I want to go back. She said, I'm not going back.
Right. It's crazy.
But while we're talking, guys, let's talk a little bit. We're going to shift gears a little bit here. We have with us our guest, Dr. David Doriscar. Just tell me if I'm pronouncing it right or wrong.
Yes, you're right.
It's a French name. Yeah, French name. He is also a pastor of Lively Stone. Is that correct?
I'm
two Lively Stone.
The current pastor is Pastor Jude. Right now, I'm overseeing it, but I'm definitely close.
Oh, okay.
To heart, and it's my baby. I love the people and the parishioners, and I'm no longer in the pastorship role right now. I'm more or less overseeing the ministry, but I love my people, my church, though.
And it's just a little bit of history. It's your parents. Your mom's still living, still looking good. They're part of the Haitian community there, a big part of the Haitian community. Very successful children. You guys, all of including us smart folks, doctors and stuff. Got their doctoral degrees and stuff. Him and his sister and brother. You guys are all smart. But there's something that you're doing right now. You're coming out with the book because it's not out yet, right?
Yes. The release will be out in 2 days, where you can start pre-ordering.
Oh, okay.
So you can visit us at drdaviddoriscar.com, and it'll have the link to Amazon, to Books and Books, Barnes and Nobles, and everywhere where books are sold. You can start getting the pre-orders in.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about what the book entails, because it's called, basically what you do is teach on finances, and you are a consultant when it comes to finances. And right now, that has been a big thing as far as this world, finances. How can businesses, or how can we apply? Like, I know everybody who has a small business been wanting to apply, but they like, do I do it now? Do I do it later? Do I go to someone and have them fill it out for me? Like, what do we do? What are we doing?
Thank you so much. So let me take, if you don't mind, let me take just a minute or two to tell people a little bit about my background and how did I get to this book. So I worked in higher ed for quite some time, for about 10 years. But prior to that, when I got out of college, I worked in finance. I had a Series 3, Series 30. I worked in a very type of field. We invested in commodities on the New York Mercantile Exchange. So something that very volatile, makes the stock market look like it's smooth and everything. So I did that for a couple of years. I became the managing partner of the commodity investment firm. And then I went into academia for about 10 years. I did my MBA, a master's in business administration, and then I did my doctorate in management. Um, so recently, I had some old buddies when in my financial days that reached out to me and they said, "Listen, we have about 100 funders that are looking for someone to vet the businesses and the real estate that we fund, and we need someone to vet it." And they asked me to do it for a number of years. I didn't really want to leave the university. I love students. I love teaching. I love being an administrator and motivating people to get the best of themselves because of that. But eventually, I know that in the financial field, there's having a minority is underrepresented, and that motivated me to say, you know what, I could help a lot of businesses in terms of getting funding. So April last year, I decided to resign at the university to start Doriscar Capital Group. We fund from microloans to north of $100 million nationwide. We fund businesses, we fund real estate transactions, and from there, I started realizing there was a lot of businesses that were making a lot of mistakes. So the key thing that I want to let people know that people that are funding and lending money, we want you to get the money. And the reason we do is not because of philanthropy, not because our heart is so great, is because we make money off the interest that we lend you. It is a good hedge to the stock market. Okay. So everyone that's lending, they want you to qualify because that's how they make their money. But when we have to deny someone funding, we're almost as mad as the business owner that's got denied. Of course, the business owner is more upset because maybe their business is depending on those funds to survive. But we're not happy either. And I said, you know what? I've noticed a lot of business owners making very similar mistakes, from startups to people that are making tens of millions of dollars. I realized that they just don't get how funders look at funding. So we have just a different perspective. And this book was birthed out of that, saying if I could educate the marketplace and help people understand what we look at when we're looking to fund a business, what we look at when we're looking to fund a real estate transaction for investment purposes, then guess what? More people would get qualified, would be happier because we'd lend more, and it's a win-win. So this book, Seven Things to Know to Get Money for Your Business, was birthed out of saying, you know what? If I could educate more business owners and people that want to start business in the future to understand what do we look at? What are some of the do's and don'ts that you can do? And a lot of it is counterintuitive. And I can say that because I come from a different, background. I don't only have financial background, but I relate a lot with people that don't have it. So I understand how some of the principles are counterintuitive. So that led
And let
me
me
to.
ask you a question, David. So I know everybody who got, good credit, average credit, excellent credit. I know that you probably been getting all these emails and texts to get a loan. Y'all ain't got none of them. People send them to you all day long. You want to get a loan. You want to get a loan. Don't do it. Listen, I ain't even a financial person, but I'm just saying, just a little common sense. Don't do it. And right now, David, they just put out today that all of the not all of, most of the car dealerships, they're not. You don't have to pay your first payment until 90 days. So they're giving everybody that 90 day, that September, I guess, month, that 90 days. A lot of businesses, people saying, right now you can go get a car. If you need a car, van, if you need any of those things, right now is a great time to go do it. Right now is the best time to
I mean,
invest. Right now is the best time to purchase a house. Is that true?
Okay. Well, you said a couple of things. So it won't be true for all of them, but some of them I would agree. The I do believe when you're investing, The smartest way to invest is for long term. The people that are choosing like individual companies, I'm not a fan of it. I'm a big fan of index funds, which means that you're investing across the board and is a long term investment. I could say I am guilty as charged. I made so much money in the last recession because everybody was foolishly selling stocks, and I remember I said, okay, I got $4,000. And that $4,000, the last recession, 2008, I put it in index funds, spread across. And it was so crazy that the financial advisor at JP Morgan at the time was telling me, no, 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 let's at least he was afraid. Let's put 1,000 to the side. I would have made more if I ignored him. Because I knew this was the best time to invest when everything was going down while everybody's acting foolishly. And you don't invest money that you need. You don't invest money that you
Right.
need to pay bills.
Absolutely.
You don't invest money that you need to
Right.
pay mortgage. You invest what you could literally forget about and not think about. And that $4,000, well, 3 years ago when I was purchasing my second property, was $14,000, and I was going to sell my house in Davie to buy one in Coral Springs. And I said, you know what? What I'm going to do is I need some liquid cash. So I took 10,000 of the 14 just so I could put down and don't have to wait till the other house was sold. So I do believe this is the best time to invest in long.
Child. So my little couple of little $100 on my little one share ain't doing enough.
Yeah, I mean, because right now, what you can do is you can buy something, you can buy stocks that you would never be able to buy for the price that you're able to get it at now. So I,
Right.
I do believe that if you're a long-term investor, you don't need to look at the market if you're doing index funds. You can just forget about it. You invest and you look at it in a couple of years later, and this is the time to do it if you have it. Same thing with the car. I don't think that, you know, 90 days is adequate because let's say if you're not working, what is 90 days going to help you with? How are you going to make that payment after 90 days? That's not going to help you. You know, so these are things that I just don't think helps too much. When you don't have adequate funding. However, if you are a business owner, if you are an investor, and you have the capital, this is a good time. There's opportunity in a down market because you always want to buy low and sell high. People hear it, but they never do it. Because when things are high, that's when they want to buy. Because it's so high, it's so great. That's when they want to buy. When your risk is significant, your risk to lose is think of it as a floor and a ceiling. When you're close to the ceiling, you're gonna hit the ceiling and you're gonna come down. So when things are high, you're closer to the ceiling, and most likely you're gonna hit the ceiling and you're gonna come down. There's a lot more room for down than there's up, but whenever your things are trading really low, you're closer to the floor. So there's a lot more room to go up, and that's just an analogy to help people understand a lot of the mentality in terms of investing.
Now let me ask you this.
Yeah, that makes me want to. I don't know, Nathan, y'all. That makes me want to like, cause I ain't got no comfortable 10,000 to say, hey, what I'm saying, it is what it is,
I
and
mean, last
I
time
don't.
it was
But maybe a couple hundred or 1,000, I can say, okay, hey. So that's why I do believe in a lot of those investment groups that come together that like 5, 10 people that puts some money in to do some things. People, I figure you trust or whatever. I'm a believer that those things there can
Oh,
actually
it's a great market. It's very effective for real estate. I've seen a lot of people do it. In term, this, I am Caribbean, as you said. My parents are from Haiti. There's something that's really popular among the Haitian and Jamaican is a saving club. I think the Jamaicans call it partnership. The Haitians call it SOSO or ESO. And that's how I usually save. Let's say if you get 50 people, each of them putting $100 and a week, and each week each person gets five
Ooh,
thousand dollars.
child, it's like you gotta wait 50 weeks.
No, it depends where you are, but you're going to be paying $100 a week for 50 weeks. So whether you're number one, or whether you're number 10, or whether you're number 30, or whether you're number 40, everyone still has to pay that $100 for all 50 weeks. So it doesn't matter, but it's something that forces you to save. and a lot of that's how a lot of Caribbean folks do it. I'm a fan of it. I live by it. I do my fiscal year based upon upon it. I know that all right. This is where we started. It's a good thing. I know Pastor A had a question as well. So
Yes, I had a question. Kind of going back to what Tanisha was saying. You were saying that this is a season to invest, and assuming that a lot of people that are watching us now don't have tens of thousands, but maybe have hundreds that they can use as you said, money that they can afford to live without.
you're
What
not
would
thinking.
be your advice to them as to where to target their investment? Is there a particular portfolio that they need to do? What would you say
I'm
to that? And what would
one
be the minimum?
Yeah, one thing that a lot of people don't know is the time value of money. A little bit of money invested over a long period of time will give you significant more greater return than a whole lot of money. Okay. So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have a whole lot of money. I think, first of all, let me start by saying everyone should be maxing out their IRA every year. Everyone should be maxing out their 401ks if you have it. If you have an employer that's matching, that's number one. That's something that you should do. Everyone should do. In addition to that, index funds. Index funds are the best. You can start with something like Acorns, for example. Acorns, where they'll invest pennies, like from your debit card, from your purchases, and they'll round it up and they'll invest it into an index fund. There's I think Wealthfront, Benchmark. There's so many of them. You could just Google index funds to invest.
Y'all write that down.
S&P 500 is an index fund. Dow Jones is an index fund. What index means for those that are listening is that it's a little bit of everything. So the only way you lose over the long haul is if everything goes down forever.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? There's not been a crash. I mean, you could think of all the major crashes of the market. There's not been one crash that if the person had left their money in there, it did not rebound to a profit.
Wow.
Not one in the history of the stock market. I'm not talking about when you're investing in individual stocks. For example, I love Tesla. Tesla's my man. I love Elon Musk. I love Tesla. I'm a big fan. I tell my wife all the time, look, I want that Model X. I'm not trying to get no Suburban. She wants a Suburban.
And they look good too.
Oh, I want it. However, if I invest in Tesla and Elon Musk dies of a heart attack, don't you think that's going to impact that stock? You know what I'm saying? So when you're investing in individual stocks, there's so much variables that can impact the value of that stock. But when you're doing index funds, basically you're investing a little bit in everything. And therefore you have a lot more room to move forward and everything of that sort.
I have
Okay, that's good to know.
Templin, I think is what it is. Is that good? Somebody, my financial advisor had me on that. Is that good?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm asking for personal. I'm not asking for a friend. I'm asking personal.
Your personal.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said.
What is it? Franklin Templin?
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean they're a major corporation. They're big. I believe they and Vanguard are index funds.
Right.
I believe that's what they do. However, you do want to double check just to make sure because they can just be invest. I don't know what they're investing in, but I believe they do index funds. I'm a big fan of index funds.
Okay, great. So now let's get to the part where the government or us as our taxpayers are putting out so much money in the businesses. Now they have the SBA loans, and it's almost getting confusing because you get one and say, "Oh, apply for this 10,000, for this," or then, "Oh, apply if you are a chef, apply if you a business, but you got to have a certain amount of people." I mean, like, what's really going on? It making people confused that I may not qualify for nothing.
It's definitely so. All right, so let me explain to a lot of people what's going on because I got a lot of clients that are also looking to and do the PPP, and they're looking to,
Right.
you know, some of that money for their business. Here's what's happening. It was good intentions, and I still think it was a good thing that they did. It's just there's some unintended consequences. The goal was to get the money out as fast as possible. Okay, that was the goal. Get them. This is an emergency. Get the money out as fast as possible. Pass this bill. The problem is a lot of the guidelines have still not been cleared up. I have a lot of my funders are, uh, been reaching out to the SBA, and Secretary Mnuchin just till recently, I think Thursday evening, was releasing additional guidelines, but it's still a lot of ambiguity in terms of what supporting documents will the businesses have to give, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera. How long will the private lender have to hold that loan, et cetera? So there's still things that we are waiting on SBA to clear up in terms of lending corporations. And I do want to explain that because most people think SBA means government. And I do want to clarify really quickly so I don't confuse anybody. So the SBA is a government loan program. Okay. But just like most things, government takes a lot longer to do things. So what they do is they incentivize private banks and funders and investors to lend to businesses. And what they say is, listen, um, your risk, is not going to be too high because we're going to guarantee the loan. So therefore, the business. That's why if you're a business and you're looking for a loan, if I can get you an SBA loan, which I have gotten, and I don't want to brag, but Doriscar Capital Group, we're the place to go for SBA loans. Okay, um, and it's the cheapest in terms of interest charge. Okay, the reason it's the cheapest in terms of interest charge is because of the fact that the government is guaranteeing a lot of those loans, and therefore it's the downside is not that high. So think of it this way: higher the risk, the higher the interest the lender has to charge. And the reason SBA loan is cheap is because the government backs these private lenders to in terms of guaranteeing the loan. So what's going on, the conflict that's going on right now, and the reason I've had clients say, listen, I've applied with Chase, I've applied with this, I applied with this bank, I've applied with this bank, I have not heard back, no
Right.
one answer me, no one can tell me anything. And the reason is because SBA themselves are still trying to release guidelines, and it hasn't been too clear on exactly what those guidelines would be. So that's a big part of why there's a lot of ambiguity. Now, there are many different types of loans and government programs out there. One thing, I was telling a client of mine today is if you're a business and you're losing money because of the COVID-19, and you did not make a good profit. Let's say your last tax return, you gave yourself so much write-outs to make yourself look so poor, like a lot of business owners do. Then I think the PPP is a good fit for you because it's going to be your monthly average um, salary expense times 2.5, and that will cover rent, utilities, and your expenses to your employees. However, if you're a business that's actually made money and you've paid some taxes showing that you've made money, you can apply for a regular SBA loan, regular 7A SBA loan, and you can get it. Um, we are preferred SBA lenders, so we definitely are able to facilitate that. And we do real estate investment loans as well. So that's kind of
All right.
answer to that question.
So, so everybody heard that information. Now people gonna be thinking, Austin and Lee is how did they make themselves look on their taxes? What their business. You understand what I'm saying?
All ball.
Thinking like,
Correct.
okay, because y'all know, because you have to pay taxes, as a business, and folks be trying to look through it to the curtain. They be erasing. No, let me put this button. No, no, no.
Right
Let me
off,
put I did
right
this.
off, right
Let
off,
me put I did that.
but then it comes back to bite you because when you want funding to expand your business, when you want funding for marketing, when you want funding for, we have to go based upon what you said. I know businesses that made, man, they had like over 500,000 in revenue. And they said, man, I only made 20,000. They used so much write-offs. We're broke. And I said, okay, well, you cannot afford this loan because you just said that you're broke. And
Yeah, and it's funny that you said that. I'm gonna interrupt you for 1 second, and I'm glad that you said that because when they were doing like the NFL, that's what they was basing it on. And so many people and so many black companies was like, well, why didn't they choose me? Because you said that you was broke in your taxes that you can't afford because you have to put your money up first.
uh-huh.
Then they give you a check later.
Yep.
Well, you told us you ain't have no money, so how we gonna choose you to cater or to do this if your taxes in it? This is what you said. I just wanted to clear that up so people can understand why they did not get chose.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
about new?
people got to be smart.
Uh,
What about new
what you say?
businesses? Let's just say businesses who may be a year old, haven't filed their taxes as of yet. Would they, new startups, growing startups, would they be able to apply for this SBA loan? How would they go about doing that?
Okay, so the question is the answer is if you're applying for the PPP, your business have to already been established from February 15, 2020. Okay, so your business have already been operational,
Right,
and the thing about PPP is really to save employees.
right,
So if you look at the way the loan amount that you're able to request is your average monthly salary times 2.5. So let's say, and I'm gonna use a high number.
payroll.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you have $10,000 of monthly employee expenses, meaning I'm paying 10,000 a month, for just payroll.
Right,
You'll be able to apply for 25,000 because it's going to be 10,000 times 2.5, and then you could use it for rent, utilities, and payroll. But
right,
that's the way they calculate it. So if you're a startup and your payroll is $500 a month, 500 times 2.5.
right,
That that's what I'm saying. That's gonna be
right,
what you can apply for in terms of your loan amount. Again, the PPP, the goal was to protect employees, people from getting laid off. What it's saying is, listen, we're going to help these businesses, give you a little breathing room so you don't have to lay anybody off. And guess what? We'll forgive those loans if you abide by the rules. So not only it's a 4% interest and it's low and it's at 2.5% of your average monthly payroll, but if you abide by the rules, a lot of those loans can be forgiven and you don't even have to pay it off.
wow. It's
That's
all
some
about
good
education.
stuff.
Good stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Great stuff.
y'all listen, you guys. If you guys are interested, at any time you want to hear more information, because Terisha, I know you guys just had a seminar just recently when it came to finances and money and so forth. And I know David gave some good information. I don't know if it was something that you've already heard, but that's good information because it's the basic questions that we have that we really want to know, because sometimes we'll sit there at certain places and we want those simple questions, but we won't ask because we don't know how to ask, when it relates to us and our business. And I'm glad that you were able to break that down. But if you guys are interested, let me see here. Yeah, I don't have that. What picture at? Yeah. Anyway, I'll put the information in the inbox here on how to contact and give them the name of your company.
Doriscar Capital Group. You can visit us at doriscarcapital.com. Visit our website, get some information. And if you don't understand about funding businesses and you want to know more about just how to get money for businesses, I did write a book on that as well. That website is a little different from my business because my business is Doriscar Capital Group, and the website is doriscarcapital.com. But if you want information about the book so that you can learn, it's drdaviddoriscar.com. So that's Dr. David Doriscar.com. And you'll be able to find a lot of information, and you can pre-order now.
Wow,
Yes,
good stuff.
pre-order today.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, that was good information, and I appreciate that. That was some really good information. So if you guys are looking to get a group of friends, I would suggest you call David and you ask what the consultation may be. So and I said, y'all see how I gave y'all something, a group of friends. So everybody can be on the court, and this like right now is the best time.
Teresa, you got a
I
comment?
call myself investing in some stuff, but I got to go back and do the index now. I got to go back and invest in
Start
some
I'm trying to
index.
see if my coworkers got 5 on it. Can we go in together? I'm trying to
Go,
see.
right. Yeah, yeah. Just a whole bunch of people and just just have your own little thing that's going on. And I think it's beneficial, especially those who have businesses. Now it's not free, so don't call David and asking, can you do a consultation? This is his services, his business. He already gave us his pedigree. He got an MBA. He taught at the university, so we know he's efficient as to what he's talking about. So yeah, guys, but we're gonna go ahead and make a little shift here, and I did have two more things, and I want to try to get it out the way. And it was how the parents are dealing who have multiple kids in the home. Now, it's one thing that you have one child in the home, right? And you got to get up and you got to do their little school work and,
Come on.
go sit at the table, all that stuff there, and then you have two or three, and they all have different personalities. So you gotta, train them at the table and make sure, whatever, and one want this and one schoolwork. Like today, my niece did the schoolwork. She was done in 2 hours. I'm like, that's it. So what do you what are you what are you doing?
Being
That's
creative.
Terisha.
You gotta remain creative. If you don't have a Pinterest account, get one.
Yes.
Because you need ideas. And I still have little ones. So my twins are 3 and then my son is 2. So I don't have to do the schoolwork, but can we go to the park, mommy? Park? Because we usually go to the park regularly or the library, outing. So they don't understand, and they're not at an age where I can explain to them. Well, we can't go because of COVID-19.
Right.
They don't care. Can we go to the park? So
Right.
I've had to be extremely creative. I only go out once a week if I absolutely have to for groceries and supplies. So the last time I went out, I stopped at the Dollar Tree. I picked up buckets. I picked up construction paper, glue, scissors, and I have been Pinteresting them ragged. We've had races. We've had obstacle courses. I made colorful buckets and taught them how to sort their colors and their shapes. You just have to be very creative. And then about 8, 9 o'clock, I'm like, listen, we're done. Bedtime is bath is at 7, 8 o'clock. You don't have to go to sleep, but you're gonna sit in there.
So what are they doing now? It's like you skipped all. Is the husband taking care? Well, like what?
Yes, Daddy has them now. So I was like, "Ooh, let's go ahead and make this last past bath time, so he can do bath and bed tonight."
Right. You slick devil, you.
Um,
And what about you, Austin? Your kids are school kids.
Yes, God. Thank God the Lord spoke to me 17 years ago and said, you better marry that school teacher.
Look at you.
You're going to eat her one day.
Yeah.
So being married to a school teacher, now former school teacher, has been working out great for us. But it still is challenging because we have a 8-year-old, soon to be 9, and a 5-year-old. And so they're on 2 different levels educationally. The 5-year-old just want to go somewhere, anyway. It doesn't matter where you're going to go to the stop sign. It don't matter. You just want to get out the house. But you have to be creative. You certainly have to be creative. I've been misreading scripture because I read when 2 or 3 are gathered together in his name, that he'll be in the midst.
Come on.
And it don't seem like he done forgot about me, man. 'Cause, these kids touching, but they ain't agreeing. I don't know, man. But this thing here is rough. It is challenging your parental and teacher skills.
Yes, and patience.
I pray that I pray that the president presents the homeschool teacher degrees.
Yep.
I believe that there are many that are going to be able to get doctoral degrees in homeschooling. And I do know that when the teachers do go back to work, there will be the biggest come up for the teachers ever in the history of teaching.
They're gonna be like,
They're
yeah.
they're gonna be blessed. They're gonna
Mhm.
they're gonna get blessed every day. They're gonna get tips like never before. They're gonna get congratulations. They're gonna get candy every day because we have told the teachers it's not my child. You don't know my child. Well,
Mm.
we didn't know him, and so bless God for all the teachers who've had to deal with this all of their lives. I've already quit 3 times already.
Oh Lord.
My children have been suspended, expelled.
Oh Lord.
Wow. Wow.
But
So
Mine's big,
it's
so
been fun. It
I
has
don't know.
been fun.
Mine's a 16-year-old.
Yeah,
I'm
you got a
So I
16-year-old.
My
Yeah,
wife is a former educator, so she's amazing in terms of educating, and she has them on a schedule. Well, I got a 6-year-old. She has him on a schedule.
right,
The 9-month-old got us on a schedule.
right.
Mm.
You
Not
know,
us.
yeah. So, yeah, but she has a schedule like school. You wake up at the exact same time. She has everything set up, and we've never advocate the learning to the school system. Although we had amazing professors, I mean teachers, we've always believed in adding additional learning, and as a family, it's just something that we believed in. And I've been fortunate that my wife is an amazing educator, so she's been able to facilitate that.
Wow. You said your
awesome,
kids had
awesome.
professors. I
That's
said, man, you got loan money, boy. You got professors already.
good. They all professors. Him and his brother, his sister, they all
Oh wow.
professors. Yeah,
See,
My, my,
yeah,
my,
that's
my
good.
parents were really strict, Caribbean parents. I was a knucklehead at first, but my older sister was the first to get a doctorate degree. That's Dr. Cadeau. And she just got a promotion, by the way. So she is now full professor, which is tenured.
Ah, congratulations.
wow.
She's an educator. My other sister is also working in the school system, but for K through 12, that's Dr. Ruth Doriscar. My brother's the pastor of the Lively Stone Church of Miami. And me, I'm the business guy. Mostly all my degrees are in business. My undergrad was in computer science, but then I did my master's in business and my doctorate in management. So,
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
yeah.
Nice.
Well, tell your wife I said hello. She's real quiet. Yeah.
Oh, she is assertive. You just give her a microphone. You see,
Maybe.
The only problem I have with the homeschooling is that the teacher oversleeps. That's the problem we can have.
That's me.
Yeah, the teachers
That could be a
oversleep.
problem.
Yeah, the teacher. I be like,
I
oh, I
could
gotta
see
wake
that.
up. I gotta go to work.
Waking up. What time it
You know,
is? You ain't
yeah,
started yet?
yeah, I've been on the
Uh-huh.
church schedule. I've been on the church schedule.
oh,
My
boy.
schedule. I make the schedule, but I'm supposed to be on the teacher schedule. So I'm adjusting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good. That's good. That's good. So I want to do, you guys know I normally do relationship 204. 204. And a couple of people had asked me a question and I didn't have it on Thursday. So the thing about it is they're talking about because people have so much time. And this is for single people. All three of y'all married. But this is for single people. But if you would, but I have some relationship people because you've done relationship coaching, David and Austin. He has a show on Wednesday night with the famous pastor. On Wednesday night doing relationship speaking. So if somebody come in your DM, do you be upset that they came in your DM, or do you acknowledge and say hello? I
I'm a
say
married.
hello.
What's the DM?
You said what?
Direct message, your the inbox. I mean, what would you suggest for some of your, members if they ask you that? Well, okay, Pastor, this guy comes in
If
my DM, he tells me hello. Do I respond or do I ignore him, or should he have
with
came
that,
at me a certain way, or
no, I mean, let me tell you something. I don't know if it's because I'm a millennial, but I believe in the numbers game. I like numbers. So when you're single, I always feel like it's a job interview because you can be qualified and not the right fit, and the job don't hire you, right? So it's the same thing. I believe that two people that don't have the same vision, not going the same place, they can't be together. Because even when you have the same vision and you want to go to the same place, you're gonna fight like cats and dogs on how to get there. Because the way that the way you see it is not the way that she's gonna see it, and vice versa. So I believe that technology, of course, be safe, but technology is a good way to get to know people and to filter out the ones that are not a good fit. You get a job, you want as much applicants as possible so you can kind of interview them and see who's good and then see who you're going to invite for a second interview.
Right. Right. I tell a lot of my single friends that I say, stop trying to size up men in the first 10 seconds and decide if they're a husband.
That's right.
It usually don't work out because what you're deciding by is their look or their presentation. But you'd be surprised, you may get a gentleman who comes in your DMs and just says, hey, in that case, decide, do you want to be friends with him first? Because if you don't even want to be friends with him and you already at husband, his last name don't fit with my first name. Whoa, we going too fast. Calm down. Let's take it a little slower. But yeah, hey, if he comes in your DMs respectfully, why not? Why not have a conversation? You just may make a great friend, if not a future partner.
Right. What you say, Austin?
Whew. It's been a long time since I've been single. I've been single since 19. But
The 1000s, I heard a little girl say.
I'm almost 40, so it's been a long time. But I guess the DM is the new way of saying hello in the technological world, I guess. So like Teresa said, I think just like you would in person, it's all about how respectful that person is. I think we are living in a technological society, so everybody's leaving a digital footprint. So I think that you should go back and look at some posts and see what they're about.
I call them crumbs, yeah.
Right. Look at their history. Hey, if every picture of them drinking and passed out drunk and their profile picture look like they just came from church, then it says a lot about them. And so I think that you can use that to your advantage because a person has put out their resume to the world in a lot of cases. And so you can use that before you even physically take that next step. I think the technology has allowed us to cut a lot of layers instead of just looking at their picture for their features. We can also just track and see where they go. Do I see any pictures of them? If you're a Christian, do they talk about church? Just do your own interview before you even respond back to them. And I think you can kind of handle it that way. That's just my opinion. Again, it's been a while, but that's how I would do it.
I like it.
That's a good answer.
Yeah,
that's a good answer. Me being that person who's single, that's a good answer because I do have people that come to my DM. You know what I'm saying? I look, first thing I'm doing, I'm going to your page. I'm looking. All right. Even when they just say hi, I'm just looking. You ain't even asked for no phone number, nothing. Let me look. Let me see if I'm gonna say, hi
They
back.
might want to hire you. You done did a whole background check. They just want
we ain't finna do no hi to them. Now, some people may say hi, then you say hi, the next day they say hi. We ain't finna do that. Listen, what you want? What you want? Because then now it looks like it looks like me being the aggressor. Like, you want my phone number? What you want?
I'm with you. You got to investigate. I think two things that were said that were so important, and Pastor Austin said, check them out on social media, and Dr. Terisha said, time. I always tell people that time is the key that reveals all secrets. I mean, there is not a door that time will not unlock. Wow. So if you are patient, people will tell on themselves, and they always do.
Right.
And if you're willing to wait and watch, it's good. You got to pray, but you got to watch. Some people praying and they're not watching. So you got to watch and let that time reveal you, because it will speak to you. Time unlocks every secret door.
Right. Absolutely. And I like that because that's something that I try to implement myself, of patience. People try to pressure you or try to talk you into stuff, and I'm like, no, let's give it time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a stickler for that because I done got caught on that with time with that. without being patient and got stuck in the on the side. Oh man, I knew I should have. But yeah, that time thing it is a big factor because what you rushing for.
That's right.
Enjoy the journey. Just take our time. Go ahead, Austin.
I think one of the things that this quarantine situation has taught us, and I've been saying this, and I will say it on other platforms, is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is testing relationships. And not only is it testing relationships,
Come on, somebody.
we discovered, I know, and I've said this, we think love is supposed to be enough. In this season, you not only have to love your spouse, you got to like them. Because it's hard to be
In your face
quarantined
all day.
with somebody that you don't like. A lot of couples, they get off, come from work, they do have the same schedule. They see each other, hi, bye, kiss, and they go about their day. But they discover that they no longer like each other. But love is great. But you got to also like your spouse, like someone.
Yeah.
I'm in the house with my friend. And so if you haven't been used to communicating with your spouse and you used to talking to your coworkers about everything, you're miserable.
Right.
Because you can't do that. If you're on the phone all the time with your coworkers, that's gonna be a problem. So I think going into a relationship, learn to like that person as your friend, because this has taught us that you have to be friends as well as lovers if you're going to be
I saw a joke the other day on social media, and they asked this guy that said, "Okay, you have multiple choice. Section A: would you like to be stuck in quarantine with your wife and your kid?" And he said, "B." He would be
I said
right.
It's forcing people to have conversation. It's forcing you to not just do the have a good day, kiss in the morning, and then you come home 6-7 o'clock dinner, and then maybe a game because the NBA is suspended. So so now instead of game time, you got to have something to say to this person.
Yeah, I like this.
So I appreciate it because it actually allowed my family to incorporate family devotion time, which is something we never had time for.
Right.
So now it's like we're getting to the core of the things that we fantasized about when we were dating. Oh, our family's gonna sit down for dinner every night. Our family, right. We had the twins who were throwing food all over the kitchen. Now we just just feed them wherever they ain't gonna make a mess.
Right.
So I think it does make you actually have to sit down, and that's one of those things that you overlook when your first mind, as soon as you meet someone, goes to marriage, because then you overlook the basic steps of, do we have anything in common?
Right.
Are we going in the same place? Just because we both want to get married doesn't mean we should get married to each other.
Hallelujah.
Because every good man, I mastered this in dating so that other people wouldn't have to deal with it. Every good man doesn't mean he's a good man for me.
That's right. That is right.
I mastered it so my sisters don't have to go through it.
I must have mastered it too, because I'm still saying.
You're preaching. You're preaching again.
A lot of people, they're not real like that. They want to say what is fashionable or what everybody. Just be real. You know what works for you. You know what doesn't work for you. And be real enough to be like, well, this is going to be a good fit. This is not going to be a good fit. I got an old soul. I've always had an old soul. So I'm just very traditional, and that's me. So I couldn't be with a diva. She could be like a inspirational diva, a very awesome diva. It's just not for me.
Right. And a lot of people divorce each other. They still love the person. They still love them, but they don't like them. They probably never liked them because we kind of misinterpreted what a marriage should be. And
they look at, like, some of the one things they look at first is, are you a financial fit? Someone asked me a question and they posted it. They said, Tanisha, how did it go? I sent it to my group. They said, if would you marry a person if they wasn't financially stable for you or something? And my answer was, I need them to be financially stable for themselves. Because if they meet me, I got me. You
Mm,
understand what I'm saying? I already got me. That person just need to be financial for themselves, and then we can come together. If we get married and have our own, commonness, as far as our financials or something like that. And I think a lot of times people are looking for to get together for finances. Sometimes, or they looking to get together because they just look good together. They that type of public figure looking together.
Right.
So they do it on those type of things and not having that realness. My realness is things that I do privately that, if I'm picking my nose and you okay, or whatever the case may be, if I say I got a book up there, something like that, I'm comfortable, if we get comfortable and authentic with that person, just like you said, Austin, my friend, your friend, like your
Right.
And this
friend
also,
today. I seen your
this,
friend today said, "Where your gloves at? You was out there
Right.
in no street without no gloves on."
But she thinks she my mama. That's her problem. She my mama. That's all right. That's a 20 years, 20 years, 20 years, 20 years. That's what
Y'all
happened.
young too.
Yeah, we
Good
young,
Lord.
man. She took all
Well,
my
thank you guys.
childhood.
Right. Well, thank you guys for watching the Table Talk radio show, guys. We are via social distance, long distance. So, but it's working out. I actually love it. We've added Terisha to the show. Hey, Terisha.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm
she's
actually
always been
her
that
name.
person.
I
there you
know.
go.
Yeah.
Share a piece of paper.
I never forget that. I know that's been stuck with me forever,
I
man.
couldn't forget
Uh-huh.
her name right. But that
You get it
Dr.
right,
David
you know.
fluently, but I could not get her
Uh-huh.
first name right. I don't know, but yeah, well, I'm so glad that you're here, and
Thank
Dr.
you.
David. We gotta bring you back because we gotta get this money thing. You gotta let us know when we need to apply. That's why a lot of people haven't applied yet because they want to make sure that everything is together,
Right.
and not having to do their
In the
application
church,
on a
and the
lot of
church,
stuff.
man. What can the church get some money? That's what we want to know.
I mean, 501c3s can apply. It's
Okay.
just 501c3s can apply. It's just the same rules. It's going to be calculated based upon payroll. Your average
Every,
pay times 2.5.
every church is not a 501c3. You have to technically have a physical 50. I think that's a misnomer in church. Every church is not a 501c3, correct?
Yeah, I mean, but you have to have some type of corporation, right?
Right.
Regardless whether you're S corp or don't matter what type of corporation you are, you got to have a corporation. You got to pay. You have to pay payroll tax, and based upon that amount, they're going to calculate the amount of the loan that you can apply for.
Understood.
That's
Understood.
So,
that,
Austin, you get 5 friends, 5 of your preacher friends, and then y'all bring David over. Y'all have a session. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm quite sure they have business and some more questions that they may have. Y'all can Zoom it. Y'all can ask all the questions because you want to, especially in this season, get a whole lot of things right. I'm one of them people. I ain't trying. I don't like paying nobody. I don't like nobody calling me, telling me I owe no IRS, no
Right.
frauds, no nothing like that. That's those kind of stuff scare me. So I want to make sure that everything is right. And yeah, I'm gonna take the initiative of doing that to get a few people. So mine's gonna be about investment and see what we can do.
I need to get
Yeah.
your email, David. I have a personal question about our church situation that I want to get your consultation on. Certainly, really, I'm curious about it.
definitely. I'm going to mention it here too, and I'll post it as well. It's going to be David David at Doriscar Capital. So that's DORISCAR Capital.com, and capital CAPITAL.com. Again, that's David at Doriscar Capital, DORISCAR
I got
Okay.
it.
Awesome. 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 Well, thank you so very much. Well, thank you so much, Nicole. I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah.
I
Make sure
think
to
this is
tell
good for
everybody about us
entrepreneurs
on
too.
Monday.
I think this is
Absolutely.
good
That's what
for
I'm trying
a lot of the
to say.
entrepreneurs who
They
just
need to
start
call.
and don't make it official. I think they definitely need to talk to you, Dr. Dorscar.
Right.
Definitely,
Absolutely.
definitely. And
Absolutely.
get the book, because it's going to teach you what you need to do to get funding for your business. One thing that I addressed in a book that a lot of people don't know is that startups are the hardest to get funding, but there is a way. Okay, because everybody that's funding wants to see history. I got a client right now getting a loan for
Right.
over $400,000, and she's closing in a couple of days because it was a business acquisition. All she needed was 20 to 30% of that, and we loaned her the rest, and she's getting that at 5.45 interest rate, and the SBA is paying the first 6 months of her bill, principal and interest.
Mm.
So the day
Come on, somebody.
That's good.
Come on, somebody.
Go
I know
ahead, man.
that's right. Throw it out there, David. Throw it out there.
Work, brother, work.
All right, y'all. So
What's
maybe
up?
we'll have you back next week. I know somebody gonna have some questions they're gonna ask me, and I'll probably have you to answer them because this is something that we do need. I think it's a great opportunity for our race right now. We'll talk to the Black race. A great opportunity for some what you call come up, some comebacks for 2020. Don't look at it as a loss as to what's going on. Look at some things that you can do and change when it comes to your lifestyle. Okay, so it was great having you guys. Do you have Terisha? I don't have your. Tell everybody what you do because I didn't. I was looking, but I didn't find your like official,
My bio.
um, not bio, but like flyer
You do
for
everything.
people.
Well, sure, I
Yeah,
don't mind at all. So I am actually, I have a company called Propensities by Terisha Lee. And
propensity.
propensities basically means habits, characteristics, or traits. So it is a speaking and consulting firm. I actually work with churches, universities, and nonprofit organizations and help them to find propensities that are working for them and propensities that are working against them. So if we were in a university setting, we would call it programming and retention. So what is working to get you the results you want, but what may be working against you to get those results? Sometimes it just takes a fresh set of eyes to come in and evaluate, and you can see that it's very minor changes that need to be made. So that's currently what I'm doing, and I also am speaking. I'm a regular speaker on the Good Life Tour, a business and finance tour. So a little bit of both.
and how can
Yeah,
people
and he's
find?
an awesome speaker. Yeah,
And
I
you
can
can
he's awesome.
find me on Facebook. I'm Terisha Bennett, my maiden name Lee. On Instagram, I'm just Terisha_Lee. And you can find me at TerishaLee.com. Oh, and I also have a PhD in practical theology. So earned PhD. I just want to clarify that.
Come on now, come on.
I earned that.
You heard her
Just,
preach by 4
it's not a
sermons
nickname.
today. She preached like 4 sermons a day.
Okay, and Nathan.
She's not gonna talk about the fact that she's not good with directions, though. But anyway,
Oh,
Yeah, see how you do me?
That's it.
Don't
Going on.
embarrass me now, Pastor.
that's an inside joke. That's all right. That's an inside joke. Yes, you guys know me by now. I'm Pastor A of the Zion Church, doing multiplicity of things. I'm business owner, author, pastor. But check us out. If you're looking for a church that's laid back, has a mixture of young adults, seniors, children. Certainly, will be a blessing. Of course, you don't have to go to a physical building right now. You can do it, like I said, with dating. You can check us out virtually. Look at our digital footprint. We are a very we're not storefront, but we're not a mega church either. We're kind of fit right in the middle. We're really becoming the church of the norm, I believe, in the 21st century. But check us out. Check us out on every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for our Bible study, every Sunday at 9 a.m. for our worship service, and we do other nice things, talk shows with young adults, and we're going to be going live on various different conversations about what's going on in our season right now. And we're going to be reading children books. Pray for us on that. Just kind of engaging with all generations. And so, hey, follow us, like us,
Listen,
subscribe to our YouTube
I
channel.
got something to say.
All right, go
I
ahead.
got something to say. And David, I know you guys can. Doesn't it seem like you're doing more work now as pastors? I think
Well,
so.
not seem like I am.
Y'all doing more work now.
Yeah,
Y'all really. There go some folks really studying because they got to
right.
get on live, so they been gonna study.
Right. We fed today. We went to the church, did our Bible study today, planned our Easter services today, came back, and got a little bite to eat, did some therapy and on this show, and it's just it's everything is compact. Trying to figure out engaging our parishioners in this season is very challenging because you just used to them showing up to the church, but you have to find ways making phone calls. We're pastors. I think of all sides of making more personal contact with their members, and so it's definitely we are earning our keep in this season, certainly. And then got to take care of the family, doing all that at the same time from one location. So that's kind of crazy.
Right. Well, thank you guys for showing up for the Table Talk Radio, and I want to thank everybody who's out there paying attention or listening. Make sure to share this broadcast. Meet us back here on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you have any ideas or anything that you'd like for us to talk about, I've already got some texts from some people that's ready to come on the show. So we invite you guys. Just send it to Tanisha Simpkins at gmail.com or table talk prod at gmail.com. I'll put it in the comments and we'll just talk about it. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining. You guys have a great night.
Thank you, David.
Good night.
Peace.
You guys have a great
Good night.
night.